Okay, so I've been meaning to post about this therapy that took place 2 weeks ago, but it just didn't end up happening until today, and that's okay. Just with everything that's been going on for me, just ended up being now. So it was different, this therapy. It was still working with parts, but it turned out to be different. So I go in thinking I'm going to address migraines, but then she's asking me how I did after the last therapy, and what she called a rebound was like all of this stuff surfacing and like me getting even more panicky and just being a lot harder for the next couple days. So yeah, I told her it did happen again, and she wondered if maybe we should go in the direction of what's going on there, and I agreed. And then she was telling me about how there can be two parts that are in conflict with one another, and there could be a mediator. And so when she mentioned that, I remembered in my hypnotherapy that actually came up, the QHHT hypnotherapy earlier this month. And it was like addressing my hormones and also my nervous system, and it was like there is confrontation going on inside. That's like what came through in the hypnotherapy. So the way it was different was she did more of a meditation type thing, where I closed my eyes and she had me feel into where these parts are. So I feel there's a part at the back of my heart pulling down really heavy, and then there's one at the front of the heart pulling up. And then the mediator, I feel it coming in from the left side and like into my heart and kind of pushing the parts so that they don't, and the word I'm getting is collaborate, in a negative way, like just like all this concern that this mediator part of me is like thinking that there will be some type of collapse. And the mediator did not want to let up at first until telling my age, and then that softens and is like, okay. So my therapist has me put my hands on my lap, turning them palm up, and then asks these parts to go into my hands. So I immediately feel the front heart part go into my left hand, but the back heart part was like feeling fearful. And so with my therapist saying, oh, I'm just telling my part, I'm just curious to get to know you and learn about you, that part finally was able to come into my right hand and feel less afraid. So the left side, she's like asking which one to work with first, and is feeling the left. So and immediately that feels ancestral, and I'm seeing this image of my mom's dad, so my grandpa, kind of doing like a shaming kind of finger pointing toward his children, and I'm hearing the word shaming, but it's like to get them to do what he feels is best for them. And so yeah, with that, it's like we're asking if we could let go of the burden, and that part was afraid to let go of the burden because of a part in my brain or in my head, I guess. It was afraid to be punished. And so we addressed the part in my brain and let that part know my age again. And so that part softens and says, you have permission. So so we're with the left hand, and the left hand part does this image of where it's like using a slingshot to shoot this burden into the sun. And so that's what took place. And then then the left hand part was like, okay, time to work on the right hand. But then my therapist was like, well, is there anything else that needs to be unburdened? And it was interesting because this was like, I'm getting two answers at once, which I don't remember what the answers were, but it's like I feel the left hand part kind of splitting in two. And the two start bickering. And so, yeah, and so with that, it's like she addresses more, and she thought that we were still addressing the left hand, but I misunderstood and thought that we were supposed to go to the right hand. So I started talking to the right, and so we got it all figured out after and worked it out. But so yeah, going on to the right hand. Right hand, interestingly enough, is ancestral, but it's father line. So I find this so interesting that this is all coming through, because half of our left is more feminine and half of our right is more masculine, except it switches in the brain. So yeah, so it's like this right side is more feminine and the left side is more masculine for the brain. But yeah, with the body, it's like right side masculine, left side feminine. So it's interesting that the mother line on the left side and then the father line on the right side is coming through. So with the father line, I'm getting, there's a lot of belittlement and shaming, more shaming. I'm looking down at my paper because I wrote notes again. So yeah, so there was this burden there, and it also came through that the right side felt like the left side was not keeping me safe, and then it came through that the left side felt the same about the right side. So yeah, that was interesting as well. So yeah, with that, it was observation. Like, that was the whole point. It was just awareness, so we wouldn't have my nervous system and parts of me like freak out after. So we didn't do a whole lot other than just slingshotting that one burden. So after knowing the awareness of it, we started bringing it to a close. Yeah, and so it was just imagining, it's like, she just asked how we can get these parts to feel more secure before they would like go back in their place where they feel safest. So I just saw like this blue light coming in and just helping them both feel more secure, and then they both went back to the same places, but it wasn't as heavy for either of them. And since it's been 2 weeks, it's like I didn't have as much of a rebound or things surfacing as much because we didn't address as much. So it was a lot calmer. So yeah, I have had a therapy since then, and I did have a rebound. That one was more personal. I don't know if I will share that. It was hard. A lot of crying came up, and a lot of pain from something that happened in my childhood, and I hadn't processed it, and it was surfacing so I could process it. So I am grateful. It just was kind of hard to work through that one. So yeah, I feel like because it's not just me that I would be talking about, I don't feel comfortable sharing that one just for the sake of those in my life. So yeah, so that's where I'm at, and I am doing better since my last therapy. I've definitely been doing my own healing modalities and everything in between, and that's been helping as well. I don't feel as heavy as I did the last couple of weeks have been pretty heavy, so I'm feeling pretty good today, but I know there's always more, so I'm learning to work through the heavy. So yeah, thanks for watching.